a night like any other. It was the evening of May 15, 1985, a typical spring night in Salt Lake City. The air was comfortably cool, laced with the faint scent of budding flowers and distant traffic. The Wasatch Mountains cast long shadows across the city as the sun dipped below the horizon. For 18-year-old Christine Gallegos, life felt full of promise. Christine was bright, compassionate, and strikingly mature for her age. She had recently graduated high school and dreamed of becoming a teacher. Her family remembers her as the kind of person who always found a silver lining, who lit up any room she entered. That night, Christine left her home to meet a friend, as she often did. She waved goodbye, promising to be back soon. But Christine never returned. Hours later, her battered and lifeless body was discovered in a desolate field near 1200 West and 200 South. She had been sexually assaulted and murdered. The news sent a shockwave through the community. A young life, filled with hope and kindness, had been extinguished without reason. As police tape flapped in the wind and investigators surveyed the field under floodlights, a haunting question lingered in the air. Who could do something so monstrous? The investigation begins. From the outset, the Salt Lake City Police Department poured every available resource into solving the case. Detectives combed the field where Christine's body was found, meticulously documenting the scene. They interviewed friends, neighbors, and potential witnesses, desperately hoping for a breakthrough. Christine had reportedly been hitchhiking, a common but risky practice in the 1980s. Witnesses placed her near State Street late that night. Someone remembered seeing her get into a car, but there were no surveillance cameras, no cell phones to ping locations, no clear description of the vehicle or its driver. Still, police were determined. They lifted fingerprints, collected clothing, and carefully preserved a sexual assault kit. But for all their efforts, the leads went nowhere. The case quickly turned cold, but detectives couldn't shake the feeling that the answer was just out of reach. Hidden in plain sight, a family left in limbo. Christine's mother, Leah Gallegos, has never forgotten that night. She remembers the stillness in the air, the dread in her chest, the hours ticking by with no sign of her daughter. And then the call, the kind of call every parent fears. It was like my heart had been ripped out, Leah recalled in an interview years later. Christine was my everything. She had dreams, hopes. She wanted to help people. And in one night, someone stole that from her. Grief, when mingled with the absence of justice, becomes a special kind of torture. Every birthday, every holiday, every simple family dinner was a reminder that Christine was gone. And worse, her killer was still out there. Leah kept Christine's room just as it had been. Posters on the wall, books on the nightstand, a half-filled journal with teenage thoughts frozen in time. It became a sacred space, a quiet rebellion against forgetting, the airman in the shadows. Unbeknownst to investigators, Christine's killer was hiding in plain sight. Ricky Lee Stallworth was 22 years old in 1985, stationed at Hill Air Force Base not far from Salt Lake City. On the surface, he was just another young serviceman, clean-cut, courteous, dependable. But behind closed doors, Stallworth led a very different life. He had a history of aggressive behavior and disturbing tendencies, though none had led to serious legal consequences. He moved through life like a ghost, unseen, unnoticed, unsuspected. No one connected him to Christine's murder. He wasn't on any suspect lists. His name didn't ring bells. And that's what made him so dangerous. The case goes cold. By the early 1990s, the Christine Gallegos case had become just another cold file in the archives of the Salt Lake City Police Department. Dozens of boxes filled with interviews, evidence, and theories sat untouched for years. It wasn't that detectives stopped caring. On the contrary, many of them would revisit the file from time to time, flipping through notes and photos, hoping something might suddenly click. But technology hadn't yet caught up to the ambition of justice. DNA was still emerging as a reliable tool. But in the 1980s and early 90s, there was no database to match against, no genealogical trees to climb. Even though investigators had preserved a rape kit from Christine's autopsy, there was little they could do with it. The rise of DNA forensics. Fast forward to the 2010s. Forensic science had taken a quantum leap. DNA testing was now fast, cheap, and accurate. Thousands of cold cases were being reopened across the country. In Salt Lake City, a new generation of detectives joined the force, armed not just with notebooks and instincts, but with powerful genetic tools. Christine's file was dusted off once again. Her preserved rape kit was sent for modern DNA analysis. And finally, there was a full male DNA profile. It was a promising development, but there was a catch. The profile didn't match any known offenders in CODIS, the National DNA Database. Whoever killed Christine had never been arrested, or at least had never submitted their DNA. Once again, the trail went cold. A breakthrough from the past. In 2021, Salt Lake City police took a bold step. They partnered with Othram, a cutting-edge forensic lab specializing in genetic genealogy. Using public databases, Othram analysts began the painstaking process of building a family tree from the unknown DNA. The process wasn't quick. It took months, sifting through thousands of genetic markers, comparing profiles, tracing relatives, and verifying identities. But the team was relentless. Eventually, they narrowed their search to a family in Michigan. Then, one name emerged, Ricky Lee Stallworth. He was a match. The DNA was his. There was no doubt. But fate had dealt another cruel blow. Stallworth had died in 2023, just 2 years earlier. The name finally spoken. On May 16, 2025, exactly 40 years to the day after Christine's murder, Salt Lake City police held a press conference. Reporters filled the room. Cameras rolled. The city held its breath. Police Chief Mike Brown stepped up to the podium. "We are here today to announce the resolution of a decades-old tragedy. Christine Gallegos was taken from this world far too soon. After 40 years, we now know who did it." He paused. "The man responsible for the rape and murder of Christine Gallegos is Ricky Lee Stallworth." The room was silent. A wave of emotions washed over those in attendance. Relief, sorrow, rage, closure, and legacy. Christine's story doesn't end with her death. It doesn't end with Stallworth's name being revealed. Her legacy is bigger than that. Her case has become a symbol, a rallying cry for justice, perseverance, and the power of science. Thanks to the tireless work of detectives, the evolution of forensic technology, and the strength of a grieving mother, justice was finally served, and her story has paved the way for others. In recent years, hundreds of cold cases have been solved through forensic genealogy. Christine's is now part of that growing movement. Leah Gallegos continues to speak out, urging families of other victims to never give up. "Justice doesn't have an expiration date," she says. "If you keep pushing, keep believing, one day, the truth will come. Inside the criminal mind. What makes someone like Stallworth commit such atrocities?" Forensic psychologists reviewing the case point to key markers: narcissism, lack of empathy, thrill-seeking behavior. He likely had antisocial personality traits, a man capable of hiding his darkness behind a charming facade. He targeted Christine because she trusted him, because she was kind, because she let her guard down. And when he was done, he walked away, believing he'd never be caught. But justice, though slow, was inevitable. A story that must be told. This isn't just a true crime case. It's a story of heartbreak and healing, of scientific innovation and relentless determination, of a mother who refused to stop fighting for her daughter. Christine Gallegos' voice was silenced in 1985. But today, through the retelling of her story, that voice is heard again. It speaks for victims. It demands justice. It urges us to remember. For as long as her story is told, Christine lives on, not just as a victim, but as a symbol of the justice that can come even after 40 years.